Hello and welcome back to Power Skills with Janna. I'm Janna Jones, your leadership development specialist, coach, and mentor. And I'm so glad that you're here today. I probably say that every week. But today we are diving into a topic that is probably the most requested. And I have spent a bit of time working on this particular episode for you. It is incredibly exciting, a little bit daunting, and absolutely game changing for leaders. Leveraging AI in leadership. Let's be real, AI isn't coming, it's here. From chatbots to data analytics, it is reshaping how we work. But this isn't about fearing job loss or becoming a tech expert. It's about using AI as a tool to amplify your human strengths, freeing you to lead better, think deeper, and connect more authentically. Today, we will unpack the science behind AI's role in leadership, share stories of leaders who've embraced it, and give you the practical and ethical ways to integrate AI without losing your human touch. Because the future is actually human, and the top future proofing skills are communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. So let's leverage this as an opportunity for you to lead into more of that, making AI your leadership ally, one intentional step at a time. A quick request before we move on, please, if you are loving these episodes, take a moment to hit subscribe wherever you listen from. It means the absolute world to me. And perhaps you might even like to share it with a colleague. That helps me to reach more switched on leaders, much like yourself. And for that, I am always incredibly thankful. All right, let's jump straight into it. So, why does leveraging AI matter for leadership? As always, let's start with why. Because AI isn't a replacement for leaders, it is an enhancer. McKinsey reports that leaders using AI for decision making see 40% faster insights and 25% better outcomes. Why? Because AI handles data crunching, pattern spotting, and routine tasks, freeing up your brain for what humans do best: empathy, creativity, and strategic thinking. Neuroscience shows us that balance is key. AI reduces cognitive load on your prefrontal cortex, which is likely overwhelmed by data overload, therefore preventing decision fatigue. Meanwhile, that leaves more room for oxytocin driven connection and dopamine fueled innovation, the absolute heart of leadership. I coached a leader recently who was drowning in reports and emails, and he started using AI for executive summaries, trend spotting, and next steps recommendation, sharing some past work as an insight into that level, the language, and his own voice as well. Was it perfect? No, but it was a starting point that would have taken him far longer, and now he just had to edit, refine, and align. Suddenly, he had more time for team coaching, mentoring, and big picture strategic thinking. He was more present in meetings, less worried about his extensive to do list, because he knew where he could take back some time. His team engagement in meetings also started to soar. That is AI supporting leadership, not replacing it, contrary to popular belief. In today's fast paced world, AI may actually be how you stay ahead without burning out. Use it wisely and you can amplify your impact. Now, let's consider some opportunities together, because opportunity one would absolutely be utilizing AI for insight and efficiency. Start with AI's superpowers: processing information and automating routines. Perhaps you need some data and trends analysis. You may share the data with tools like Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT, Grok, or Gemini, which may be used to summarize reports. Perhaps asking it something along the lines of, what are the key trends in this data? Even for email and meeting prep, AI can draft responses or agendas for you with ease. Or if you're like me and sick of having to read 5+ emails deep in an FYI email just to get the gist of things, it can even summarize those for you. You might also use a prompt along the lines of, summarize this thread and suggest replies, or review this content and suggest a meeting agenda to unpack and align on our next steps with this team. Have you also considered letting AI get to know you and then suggest personalized learning? AI can recommend resources based on your goals, so that you can share your goals and ask for some free online personalized learning opportunities that may help you to achieve those. Or you can go one step further and type in a prompt, something along the lines of, I'm considering my future career pathways and development opportunities and would like some further insights, including goals, online learning resources, or even training programs that are local to me. In order to best coach me on what is possible, you may ask me up to 21 questions and I will answer. I know that was a really long example, but remember that you don't have to start by inputting something first. You can literally start with nothing and ask AI to ask you what it needs in order to give you the most valuable response. Amazing, right? A mid-career leader that I coached used AI to analyze team feedback surveys. It spotted themes that were missed in the organizational report, leading to more targeted development and actionable opportunities. Efficiency gained, hours weekly, actually. AI doesn't replace thinking, it sharpens it. As a quick ethical tip, always verify AI outputs, rubbish in, rubbish out. Not all the data it's pulling is from optimal sources. So, for example, I work in organizational development, and most of what I do is evidence based behavioral and developmental psychology in nature. Sometimes AI responses will not reference the thought leader, or it will give me a model that I know is disputed or has been superseded by better or more evolved thinking. It's okay for me because I only consider it as an opportunity for efficiency or a summary, and I would not use it as a single source of truth. But I know some people have been caught out. So it's a bit of a cautionary tale there. That brings us to opportunity two, enhancing decision making with AI. AI excels at unbiased data synthesis, which is perfect for decision making or even providing viable options. Perhaps you may like to leverage it for scenario planning. For example, sharing a report or some data sets and asking, what are the pros and cons of option A versus B? Or even bias checks. Gosh, this one was something new and wonderful that I heard from a colleague recently. You may ask AI to review your plan for blind spots and make some recommendations. A talent manager that I worked with said that her team was struggling with both attracting female employees and then keeping them in the talent pipeline. I shared one of my favorite books on the topic. Actually, while we're talking about bias and AI, I will definitely share that with you as well. The book is Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez, and it is about exposing data bias in a world that's designed for men. Very, very interesting. But then we also talked about how to leverage AI to review her advertisements, application process, talent roadshows, assessment centers, etc. I believe she then went on to utilize a prompt along the lines of this. I'm reading Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez, and I realized that there is likely gendered and minority bias built into our systems and processes that mean that I'm not able to attract or retain women or diverse genders into our talent pipeline. I am going to share some of these processes and examples with you. Could you please review and share insights as to what some of the barriers may be and make recommendations? Apparently to great success. Amazing, right? Risk assessments as well. My risk and safety people love this one. So, for example, you might input something like, what risks am I missing in this strategy? Or, are we inadvertently introducing any psychosocial hazards with this operational plan? Please highlight and share some mitigation recommendations. A senior executive I worked with utilized AI to simulate merger outcomes. It flagged a significant cultural risk that he had initially overlooked, saving a potential clash that would have meant delays and confusion. Remember that AI augments and supports judgment. It doesn't override it. Use AI insights as input and then apply your own empathy and values as well. Speaking of empathy and values, let's consider opportunity 3, boosting team development with AI. AI can support you to support your people, echoing our personal value of developing your people so that they can develop your organization. starting with personalized feedback. Perhaps you input performance feedback somewhere, whether that's a spreadsheet or a system. You may be able to leverage AI to analyze for patterns, even complex data like 360s across a whole leadership cohort. Amazingly underutilized. If you come to a consultant like me for that, it would cost you a fortune. Learning pathways as well. Again, I know I initially spoke about this for your own career, but you may also share some information on the employee. Remember to first check with your company policy on this one, though, because most won't allow external platforms like Grok or ChatGPT. However, Copilot within their own Microsoft system and your login may be okay. Then you can request recommended or even tailored resources to be provided. Go as narrow or as broad as you want with this. So, for example, you may ask something like, with this last performance evaluation and employee's LinkedIn CV, please provide some recommendations or tailored resources for this person's professional development over the next 12 months. Or narrow it down so far as suggest courses and free online resources to improve delegation. You can also leverage AI for coaching prompts. Again, I want to use another example of going as broad or narrow as you want to here. So, for example, you may say something like, I'm having this challenge with an employee at present and would like to prepare myself for a one-on-one with them. They often get activated and the conversation may quickly become unproductive. So, I'd like to coach and mentor. Can you please prepare some questions aligned with the GROW model for me? Very narrow, right? Or open it up with something like, my team one-on-ones are getting a little bit stale. Can you please recommend some questions for my one-on-ones to deepen connection, engagement, and alignment to our organizational values and objectives? A manager that I worked with for years utilized AI in this way to create custom development plans from performance data. Her team felt seen and heard, and engagement rose. Remember that AI can help you to scale personalization, but you need to be able to scale the connection in return. Bonus points if you're willing to share with other leaders how you are leveraging AI, because it demystifies what may feel very complex for others just getting started and also role models growth. Opportunity 4 may be to foster creativity and innovation, because we can leverage AI to spark ideas as well, freeing you up for those breakthroughs. Perhaps that's as a brainstorming partner. So, for example, you might ask it to generate 10 ideas for team motivation, or even cross-pollination, an input like, here is what we are currently struggling with. How do other industries solve these retention challenges? Or even to challenge your own assumptions. Years ago now, I had the opportunity to pick the brains of some of the senior leaders at Amazon about business improvement. And one of the things that they pride themselves on is their openness and ability to challenge their hypothesis. Actually, it's built into their work. That is key. As a leader, you may want to consider a similar scientific lens. Adam Grant's book, Think Again, asking something along the lines of, what are the counter arguments to my plan? A creative leader I work with used AI for a wild ideas session. One prompt led to a new hybrid model boosting innovation by 30%. Consider AI as your collaborator. That is then led by your vision. And opportunity 5, make sure that you maintain the human touch, because AI enhances, never replaces human leadership. Prioritize connection. Use saved time for real conversations and book it in. Your calendar will just get filled up with other stuff if you don't. And really, as a leader, you cannot be successful if not for your people. So prioritize where it is most important. Be transparent. There are times where you may want to credit AI, especially if you have copy and pasted a body of text and recommendations. Perhaps saying something like, AI helped to summarize this data. Here's my take on actionable next steps. And lead with empathy always. Remember that what AI may have in knowledge databases, it lacks in heart, but that is something that you can provide and lead with. A leader that I worked with recently shared and credited AI insights in a meeting, but always added personal stories and anecdotal evidence to back it up. Her team felt supported, but not automated. Remember that AI can amplify humanity when it's utilized intentionally. All right. Now let's consider some power practices to really start to leverage AI. Here are 5 actionable practices that you can start today. Seek daily insight. You might ask AI one leadership question. For example, what am I not seeing as a leader that could significantly improve my team's performance or well-being? Or maybe, what signals should I look for to understand whether my team feels psychologically safe? Or even, how can I evaluate whether a decision is bold or reckless in a leadership context? Choose your own adventure. How about an efficiency win? Automate one routine task. For example, capturing key points from meetings and turning them into key action items. You may use a tool that gives you a transcript like Teams or Zoom, and then ask it to extract things like decisions made, action items, owners, deadlines, risks or blockers, etc. You can also ask for a one-page executive summary or a bullet point action list, a version tailored for your leader and one for your team, whatever it is that's most helpful to you. Maybe even a team boost. Using AI for one personalized development area. Further to what I've already mentioned, you may also set up a weekly or daily routine where you feed the AI a short reflection, such as what went well today, what didn't, what challenged you, what you avoided, what energized you. And then you can ask AI to start to identify patterns in your behavior and highlight blind spots. Suggest micro habits, offer alternative interpretations, or recommend a small improvement for the week. What about creative spark? Brainstorm one challenge with AI. You may like to ask something like, I am struggling with X. What are 10 possible causes? In order to really deeply understand the problem, or jump straight into solutions if you know the root cause. For example, here is the challenge X. Generate creative and actionable solutions from different perspectives. And again, I'm going to prompt a human check. Share an AI insight in a conversation. So, for example, the prompt may be something like, give me 3 surprising insights about leading through change that we can share in conversation. Or, what's one insight about team motivation that most leaders overlook and why does it matter? Or even, what is a perspective shift about delegation that could help leaders to rethink how they work? Goodness, I know that sounded like a lot more than 5 power practices because I gave you some significant options in there as well. Perhaps this episode might be one that you want to bookmark and come back to. All right, I've shared a lot, but now it's time to pause and consider some personal reflections. Grab a pen if it's safe for you to do so, or simply take the time to think through these properly. What's one task AI could free you from? How might you utilize AI to support your team's growth? Where might AI help to spark your creativity? And how will you make sure that you keep the human touch? These are the stepping stones to leveraging AI in your leadership. And so your challenge this week, should you choose to accept it, is to pick one leadership task and leverage AI for insights. For example, please summarize trends in team feedback, review, edit, and apply it. How much time did you manage to save? What's another win that you may have noticed in the process? Then share the human impact with your team and make any recommendations as to how they may start to leverage AI, with caution as well, of course. That first step is absolute gold. And so are you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me on this episode of Power Skills with Jana. Know that AI is not a threat, at least not in the context of what we've been discussing anyway. It may be a tool with which to strategically amplify your leadership by focusing on insights, decisions, development, creativity, and a human touch with empathy. You'll lead better in an AI and data driven world. If you found this episode insightful, or there is something you are keen to try, or there's another leadership topic burning a hole in your pocket, please do not hesitate to connect with me on LinkedIn at Power Skills Development, or visit www.powerskillsdevelopment.com if you may like to work with me further. While you're there, you can subscribe to Power Pause, which is a free fortnightly leadership nudge straight to your inbox to support your growth and development. And please do not hesitate to share with another leader navigating AI. Until next time, stay curious, stay intentional, leverage AI wisely, empower powerfully, one human to another, and one step at a time. Enjoy the rest of your week.